in Allied Gardens, don't be surprised if you do see a neighbor building up an ADU in their backyard, maybe even building a second story on it, away from people, even though you're really in your own neighborhood. You just have a stage set up over there. I think it's gonna look pretty good when it's done. This is 2025, things could change quick. So today I'm gonna take you down to Allied Gardens, the community just next to Del Cerro and up the street from Mission Valley. And we're gonna go and check out what it's like living in central San Diego in Allied Gardens. And if this is your first time on the channel, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you're interested in San Diego real estate or anything living in San Diego. And real quick, if we haven't already met, my name is Jed Bratt. I'm a licensed real estate broker serving San Diego for 15 years now. And my team and I, our specialty is helping people just like you relocate here, finding the perfect neighborhood for them, making sure they turn over every stone and consider every factor when buying to make sure they're making an informed decision. If that sounds like something you're looking for and you're looking for an experienced advocate to be on your side, your boots on ground here when buying real estate in San Diego, give us a call, shoot us a text, or schedule an appointment below. We'd love to hear from you and see how we can serve you. Now, the first place we're going to check out today is the Allied Gardens Community Rec Center. It's a really cool central place for parks, for recreation, with gymnasium, pool, open area, and it's one of the central parts of living in Allied Gardens. Let's go check it out. Now, we're only a couple minutes away, but in the meantime, just wanted to talk about some of the cool things I like about Allied Gardens. First, it's right next to Del Cerro. The homes are a little bit smaller, a little bit older, and a little bit more cookie cutter than some of the more custom higher end homes you're gonna find in Del Cerro. However, Allied Gardens has all the centrality of Del Cerro, but at a lower price point, and it's much more level. So you're gonna find more homes with yards, more outdoor space in your single family properties. Also, it's even more accessible to shopping, stores, hospitals. It's got everything within just a few minutes. Public transit is also a great thing here. Just by and large, it's a much more level and walkable area. It's more of a mesa type neighborhood than the hilly areas of Del Cerro. So starting off, we're at the Allied Gardens Recreation Center, and I don't know if you can see behind me, you have Del Cerro up on the hill. Over here you have Cowles Mountain. We're just directly west of the Del Cerro neighborhood. And the cool thing about here, it's a big wide open area, and you have lots of different grassy areas, 3 different batting cages, a huge park open area out here, and every summer they have what's called the First Fridays, concerts in the parks. Lots of vendors, lots of music. People just come out to have a good time with your neighbors. Over on the one side here, you've got basketball courts. You've got a nice sandy playground for the kids. And often when they're having the concerts, you just have a stage set up over there, all the vendors here. So people can watch their kids playing here, have some popcorn, have some ice cream, and stay nearby everything. One of the things that's nice about Allied Gardens is, relative to a lot of other suburban areas in San Diego, it's very walkable. It doesn't mean that everything's within a 2-minute, 3-minute walk, but it's flat. There's sidewalks everywhere. There's good bike lanes. Right now I'm on Waring Road, which is the main thoroughfare that goes out to the 8. And if you continue on Waring, it becomes College Ave and then circles around back to the 8 again. One of the really nice things about Allied Gardens is the centrality of all the amenities right to the community. And of course, you have a lot of other amenities right outside of it, very easy access. But for example, the library is right on the outer edge of the community rec center that we were just at. And then if you see right behind me, you have the community shopping center, you have a US Bank, grocery outlet, UPS, you have a Foster's Freeze ice cream, which is a kid's favorite around here. And you have basically everything you need within a short walk. There's several elementary schools in the area. You have Marvin Elementary, you have Foster Elementary, you have Lewis Middle School, and then you have Patrick Henry High School over in Del Cerro. And really everything you need is just within a couple miles. Now, if you want to do some shopping outside of the local community, you just go straight down the hill on Zion. So Zion's going to take you straight down to Mission Gorge Road. That becomes Friars Road as you go west. And over there, you're going to have all the amenities of Mission Valley. You're about 7 minutes, I'd say, from Costco, from Target, from Fashion Valley Mall, Mission Valley Mall. Everything is in very near reaching distance. Now let's talk about the real estate out here. So Allied Gardens was predominantly built out in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And a lot of these homes are going to be a lot more chopped up in ways that it's a lot more difficult to open up the floor plan. In some ways that adds some character, but in other ways, if you're looking for a property that you're going to significantly modernize, it's going to be more difficult to find those sort of homes in this area. Now, there are some very quaint, beautiful little homes out here, but by and large, that's going to be one of the challenges you're going to run across. Now, the trade-off for that is affordability, relatively speaking at least. If you're looking in Del Cerro, you're probably going to be starting in the low to mid ones for even some outdated homes. You're probably looking at 1.2, 1.3 for the most part on the bottom end. And Claremont, other central areas with kind of similar type homes, you're easily going to be passing the $1 million mark. In Allied Gardens, you can find properties still in the 800s, 900s. And if they have been remodeled, you can often see them go up into the low ones, 1 millions. But for the most part, your starting point around here is still going to be well under $1 million for the time being. This is 2025. Things could change quick. Now, as far as schools go, the schools around here are pretty great for being a central community in San Diego. You have Marvin Elementary, which I want to say has a 8 or 9 out of 10 on greatschools.org. Lewis Middle School, I think, is around 7 or 8 out of 10. And then Patrick Henry High School is about a 9 out of 10. So great school options for public schools in the neighborhood, and you're getting that at a relatively affordable price relative to much of San Diego right now. Now, another thing that I wouldn't associate with Allied Gardens outright, but they do have, is some great views. There's some areas closer to the edges of the canyons that are going to have some beautiful views, even if it's just down to Mission Valley area or Mission Gorge. Right now I'm on Lewis End, and you can see across to Fortuna Summit, I believe. So there is some variety in the properties and what they offer out here. But by and large, you are going to experience, for the most part, older, mid-century homes, but with a bit more of a boxed up floor plan. Now, there are going to be some exceptions to that. If you go down Marjoram Ave, which on the east side is San Carlos and on the west side is Allied Gardens. If you go down some of those streets that go off of Marjoram, you do have some of these streets that kind of finger out over the canyons. And there's a good number of homes out there that actually have some very nice views and offer a sort of different setting compared to the rest of Allied Gardens. And if you look behind me, you can see they're actually renovating Lewis Middle School. So they're putting money into the community, and I think it's going to look pretty good when it's done. So I just talked to somebody about the renovations at Lewis Middle School, and he said that, yeah, they're basically doing the modernization of it, and what used to be all these portables, kind of like the temporary school buildings that ended up being semi-permanent for a lot of schools in San Diego. They're getting a whole new building built out, 14 classrooms, I think like a music and arts area. And so they're really just doing a huge facelift on this place, which is pretty cool. Another cool feature of Allied Gardens is right next to the Allied Gardens community pool, they have a new off-leash dog park opened last year, larger than 68% of San Diego off-leash dog parks, which is kind of cool if you have dogs. Now, something I mentioned before is that, you know, a lot of these homes have been built in the 50s and 60s, so their floor plans are kind of chopped up in a way that makes them difficult to open up. But that has led to a lot of people customizing their homes, and if they want more space, building up with a second story, or in many cases, and this isn't unique to Allied Gardens by any means, but it is one of the areas that you're seeing a lot more of this, is building an ADU. Especially being in such a central area, housing is increasingly in more demand. So when you have these larger lots, you know, 6,000, 7,000 square feet, 5,000 in some cases, with yard space, many homeowners are seeing the value in building, taking advantage of the new zoning laws, allowing you to build 1, 2, sometimes several ADUs on your lot. So in Allied Gardens, don't be surprised if you do see a neighbor or a few neighbors building up an ADU in their backyard, maybe even building a second story on it. Now, I'm only about a 5-minute drive down the hill, down Zion, from the upper primary Allied Gardens area. So now we're down here on Mission Gorge Road. And Mission Gorge, a few hundred yards that way, merges with Friars Road, which goes all the way out to Mission Bay if you go far enough. But just a few miles down the road, you have Mission Valley. You got everything I talked about earlier, IKEA, Costco, all the big chains, shopping, 2 shopping malls. Just right around here, you have a strip mall, so you have a pet hospital, you have Brothers Giant Pizza, you have a flower shop, Little Sprouts. Right across the way, you have Vaughn's, Wendy's, you have Kaiser Permanente, you have a hospital right down here. Right on the other side of these buildings, below that canyon rim over there, is Admiral Baker Golf Course. Anybody can use it. It's a great big golf course, just minutes away from your house. You got a lot of options right around you. There's really no shortage of any amenities you're gonna want, and they're all within a few-minute drive. Now, another cool thing about Allied Gardens is, just like most San Diego communities, there's some canyons nearby. And in Allied Gardens, you have no exception. So this is an example of a little trail in Navajo Canyon. And you got a lot of these things. I mean, this is San Diego for you. Canyon trails, sunny weather. And in Allied Gardens, you don't have only Navajo Canyon, which is where I'm at right now, but you also have Rancho Mission Canyon on the eastern end. So whether you just want to go for a morning hike, go walk the dog, just get some fresh air, feel like you're out in nature, away from people, even though you're really in your own neighborhood, you have that in Allied Gardens too. Which also brings me to another point, in that it could be a good thing or a bad thing. You have a lot of nature around here. So similar to Del Cerro and San Carlos, we're right next to Mission Gorge trails, which is another amazing amenity being in this area. You have biking trails and hiking trails, incredibly beautiful. But with that comes a lot of wildlife, bobcats, coyotes, rattlesnakes. Basically all the wildlife you're gonna see in San Diego is gonna be in your backyards at times. So it's cool, but if you have dogs or little kids or little pets, something you wanna be aware of. Allied Gardens. It's a great community, very central, close to nature, great schools, affordable housing by San Diego standards, and overall a great place to live, close to amenities. If you'd like to discuss further and see if Allied Gardens is a good fit for you, or maybe you're looking for another area, make sure you subscribe to check out the other neighborhoods we make videos on, or give us a call, schedule an appointment, and let's talk. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.